Okay, so everybody, this is Dr. Debbie Drake, and she's here. She's gonna help me a little bit because we're gonna work with some parasites when we work on my gut. And she could help give a little better explanation of the different parasites than I can, because I'm not medically trained in that. So
Luckily, the genius knows all the names. We don't
that's
have
right.
to.
I don't need to know them, and you don't need to know them, but it is nice to get a little understanding of what they are. So
Yeah. If you learn a few clusters, you learn everything. So I'm going to just show you the clusters.
Okay, so we're
And
gonna
it matches our other training on bioterrain.
right.
The yellow zones tend to hold molds. The red zones tend to hold worms and yeast. And the blue zones tend to hold bacteria of a more serious nature, just as a rule.
Okay. But I'm going to start with the analysis part. So I'm going to hit begin analysis. Okay. So you can see that body is showing up on top. And I'm actually pretty surprised because I don't have that many reds or blues. I'm happy about that. And then it goes to libraries, then mind, and then the biofield. So just to give a little explanation for those of you that are new, the Genius uses a numerical system. The numbers range from 0 to 777. The range between 0 and 100 is represented by the color blue. So you could see that here with neurotransmitters. The number there is 82. And it is observed that items that fall in this range are chronic energetic disturbances, meaning you've had them for a longer period of time. In Chinese medicine, they also refer to this as stagnant energy. It can also be referred to as under energy. So maybe it's not getting energy. What it does not do, it is not diagnostic in the allopathic sense. It is not telling you if you have a deficiency in something or an excess or too much of something. This is just showing you energetically what is showing to minerals. Dun, dun, dun. And oh, the zinc isn't red anymore.
Yay. So you're improved already overnight. But look at the 3 M's. Remember, I told you that if you have gut dysbiosis, it steals the magnesium, manganese, molybdenum, the iron, and selenium. So that's usually the food of yeast infections or some other infection. So when you're missing those main communicators that make left and right brain talk back and forth and make thyroid thermostat and make the spleen clean you, it's hard to get over the hump of detoxing somebody if they don't have those cleaning minerals, okay? So I figure, why worry? Why have your cake go flat? Just put all the right minerals. Even if you put them all in there, the body can always use that nutrition. It's never going to harm you, really.
Okay. I'm also going into spinal energy because I want to make sure that the brainstem is talking and sending all the accurate signals to all the different parts of the body, because that's really important that we're receiving all those signals. So I'm just going to add all of them. Whoops. Hold on.
So folks, you're opening up the grid. You're opening up the human matrix. You're opening up the most positive receiving vessel. And because you're already picking what the person's craving, you're already giving them exactly the soup they want. So their body's going to slurp it up really quickly. So you only need to use a few minutes of this as a primer, and their body will get the instantaneous signal. Oh, take on this good shape now.
So I'm going to run this for 3 minutes. And if you have anything that you want to talk, or I can try 1 minute. Let's try 1 minute.
Well, let's just show them how much it improves in 1 minute if you just put in the right building blocks to build the table with all the right structural elements and the spiritual protection and the alignment. This is what we talk about bioterrain. The pumping, the pH balance, and the minerals depend on that scaffolding. So you're just starting your whole construction today with a good scaffolding.
Yep. So here we go. 1 minute. Also, what I'm also going to show you um, after we do this primer here for our body is we can also go into digestion in body systems and then into entangled insights and show you how we can work with entangled insights to work on your gut.
That's what's great about the Genius. You can go wide angle lens or you can go deep on the zoom lens, right?
Right, but before we do that, we have to go into general overview.
Yeah. Remember, no matter how much education you have, the person's own brain is a better doctor than you'll ever be. So if you just use the true signals coming off their voice print, even if you don't understand them or believe them, then you have to realize that's what they're reflecting to themselves at this time. And so go by their high zones. But I've been trying to teach Denise, sometimes just giving them the batter to make their cupcake first is going to make it a lot easier a session on you and on them, and they'll get better results. Okay. And then they'll hold it longer. So they'll believe in you and be compliant with you and come back to you because you actually budge them somewhere forward. You know, many people go forward and they fall right back. And that's
so
usually
30%. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we have to keep going. I had 30% rectification here. So that's decent. It's not bad. I mean,
in 1 minute.
I'm going to close this view now. And now I'm going to go back to the front end and I'm going to hit system overview or touch on system overview. And that will bring us to general overview. And general overview is an expanded version of the system overview. It includes everything that you're looking at and all the panels underneath, except that now in this view, it's reordered in numerical value. So it's all, everything is all, will be all mixed, and you'll get to see, just going to run this analysis. You'll get to see what your high highs and your low lows are. So for me, we see a bunch of different points on my meridians that are red. Manganese, again, some more meridians. C5. Now we can just look quick, just for curiosity's sake, just for C5 has to do with the vocal cords, tonsillitis and persistent cough. However, the emotional connection really resonates with me, and that's too many things on one's plate. So my vocal cords are fine. But okay, so now if we hit general overview again, you can see the bottom view. And again, we're seeing a lot of meridians in here. We also see the large intestine for digestion, willow, and then some hormones. So what I'm going to do a little differently today, instead of running a quick zap, I'm going to add the reds and the blues to the main hold tray, and I'm going to run a quick balance here to see if we can. I'm just going to run it for 1 minute and hope that maybe we get some good luck here.
This is positively yummy.
So I'm just going to run them all for 1 minute.
So just, that was a profound thing that you did. You selected a submenu and asked the computer to use its artificial intelligence to re-rank everything that's on your semi-basket list, not everything, but the ones that are most dominant for you. So now you're tightening up the bell curve towards the mean. And it's very mathematical, guys. Sometimes you have something over here at plus 787 for light and tyrosine and dopamine, and you got a worm over here that's minus 787. So you're feeling in the dark. So as you take out the minus 787 worms, you feel more light in your body. So that's all we're doing, is we're pushing you towards the good side of light, taking out the dark areas of the body that are out of tune. How are you feeling on all that?
I feel good.
So I would remind you that all of this music has to vibrate in a crystal prism. So you should be drinking water while you're doing magnetic and biofeedback therapies, guys. It really helps to biofeedback therapies, guys. It really helps the rectification values go up quite a bit.
And the good news is I had 50% rectification on all the reds and blues for everything that is in that main start page. So I'm really happy with that. So
And that's only with 1 minute, right? So if you put that timer
yeah,
maybe to 3 minutes each, you've only spent 3 minutes on primer, 3 minutes on the basics, and 3 minutes on the progressive. And now it's for 10 minutes, you've got over 50% improvement.
exactly. So now I'm going to empty everything in here because I have over 200 items and I feel like I really just went through the main system overview page pretty well. I got a pretty good rectification. So I'm going to clear this and now we're going to go back and we can look at, I want to go, well, we can look at before
Just
I
as
get,
can I just say that just as we're talking about the gut, when you go back to the brain anatomy, the most gluten sensitive gut is very aligned with the gluten sensitive cerebellum. So if you're looking for clues that somebody has food poisoning in their gut, the gluten in their cerebellum may be on fire from the gluten antibodies looking for the gluten in the salmonella, attacking the gluten in your gut and your blood and your cerebellum. So you may notice that people who have particular gut problems, they have low zinc because the parasites stole them. They have on fire gluten antibodies to their cerebellum and thyroid. So I'm just very interested to see how you've progressed already, my dear.
okay,
This
well,
this is improving as you speak.
so and just to give everybody like just a little back history here, Debbie and I worked together yesterday. So she had a little pre-glimpse of what my gut looked like. And we did a little bit of work on it yesterday. So we could, if we have time, we could always show you a little bit of what came up yesterday versus after clearing and then what it looks like today. If we have time.
Can I just make one more comment? The red zones are also a cluster of other things. So at least something within that cluster of 12 or 20 items is red. That's why you can't say that it's diagnostic in one measurement alone. It's telling you that that cluster of frequencies, there's a cluster of them that are similar. When you look on the submenu, now you're going to see which is the truer red zone, the one that's outside the bell curve at the 3 standard deviations from the mean is more significant at the very bottom and the very top. When you're always in the middle, you know, your body's pretty average. So this computer is helping us spot the really areas that are got one measurement or so within that cluster that's out of whack.
Okay, so now I'm going to get my aura picture. So before we start doing anything, so I'm going to go down to in the bio field, you see aura, and you notice that there's no arrow there. So there's not like a panel beneath it. But when you click the line, it does allow you to get your aura picture. So at the bottom, you see begin analysis. You just want to hit that. And well, you know, it's okay. It's not like the greatest looking aura, in my opinion, because it's kind of like really muddy on the sides in here, this gray and pale, but hopefully we'll bring some more color in here.
May I suggest that the red chakra should be at the bottom and the purple chakra should be at the top. So it looks like you've inverted your polarity. That usually means that you don't have enough minerals at the base anymore. So I would like to bring your attention to the zinc that holds the base root of the triangle. And that's a good reason to maybe preload zinc into your recipe as you're coming along.
Okay, well, we're going to add all the minerals. So do you mean you want to see just zinc go in
No,
first?
well, I'm just giving you the hint that when you're going to minerals next, let's see what your zinc level
Oh
looks like.
yeah, that's where we were headed next. So what I'm going to do next is show you how we're going to teach all of you to like prime your body to get it ready for um this scan. So it will help your body with the minerals and a lot of the different sections on the biofield. Just get your body in as best condition as possible to receive all these other frequencies that we're going to be taken in. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add all of these frequencies to the quick zap tray, and we will run that first. So I guess since we're here in the bio field, I can start here. I'm just going to add aura up top. And then we can work with the chakras. Now the chakra was red. It's not, we're not seeing any red in here, but I'm just going to add them all. So I'm going to hit all yellow, green, and blue.
That's the fastest way to restore the polarity of north to south, because the chakras are going to work wide and narrower up towards the top, making positive top, negative bottom. So that's a really great place to start.
But I'm going to add them all in.
Yeah, why not?
Cake mix here.
Open the flow, baby.
So I'm just going to add all the Nogiers here. We're not going to be discriminant. We're just going to add them all. Spiritual protection, a very, very, in my opinion, one of the most important panels that you always want to work with. Meridians. I'm going to just add the governing and conception, but since the conception is off, I'm also going to add the first point. And now I just want to go into libraries here.
And did you notice you were high in sensitivities, which might indicate high histamine from parasites, not necessarily to food histamine?
I have parasites with the Rife numbers on it. So I want to look at that. And then I've also...
Can I just ask, is that that's got the remedies in it as well then, doesn't it?
I have something with remedies that I've added quick. I have another library where I've added ivermectin in it. So here's my parasites library that's showing up at 47%. And we have a lot of things in here. So I'm just going to add all of this. So I'm going to add all the reds.
You can see why having a red zone may mean that certain of these bugs all share a certain code that's similar, but they have a different set of codes, as in a cousin or an uncle that's slightly different. That's why many of these things overlap and not one individual reading is diagnostic, okay? But, so you know, these are all important: roundworms, fluke worms, pinworms, tapeworms. They all like to suck zinc out of your adrenals and out of your ovaries and out of your brain and make you very tired for oxygen delivery. So I always tell you, you know, zinc to think, zinc keeps you pink, zinc if you stink, meaning you need a detox, zinc if you need a shrink and you're feeling off yourself like psychotic, zinc if you can't shrink the belly as if it's bloated, and zinc is enough to make you want to drink alcohol because the worms are the drinkers, not the man or the woman. And then zinc is for the power in the adrenals to skate the rink and for the erection in these winky dink. So anybody with erectile dysfunction, they don't have that zinc in the prostate. So you think about bladder worm and or prostate inflammation from some other bladder infection or some other issue there. Pinworms of the rectum in men is very common with prostate issues.
So I'm just adding 600 and above and 200 and below in here.
You don't know how happy you're making me.
Oh, I'm such a good example.
And you know, you're gonna feel this because it is the true issue. Look at the very top, it said parasite cleanse.
Yeah, I just wanted to go to something first. I have some good remedies in here for, I have the clove, ivermectin,
zinc,
castor oil, zinc again.
Lithium balances zinc and copper to keep the mind straight from any rage. So I would always use lithium to help people unless they're already on high lithium. Frankincense is a wonderful element for all deworming of children and all psychic attack. And 787 hertz is the dopamine that stops ADHD. And 787 hertz is the dopamine that stops ADHD. Worms steal 787 from you. So I'm glad you picked that one.
And it's funny because I had 2 different variations of different milligrams, and ivermectin 400 milligrams, which is the higher, is the one that was.
That's the horse dose.
That's the one I need.
Human dose is 15 milligrams.
That's me. Okay, so I think I have.
And can I just stop for 1 second there? See the word GABA? When the GABA is the antihistamine of the brain,
I added that
if
one.
it's missing, then you know that that person's very allergic or insomniac or has a lot of worms in them. So it's one of my, if they gab a lot, somebody on Valium gets disinhibited and they start talking. That's GABA, the neurotransmitter for sleep. So people who've parasites don't have GABA and they can't sleep well. The parasites are talking at the water cooler all night long, meaning your pancreas.
So
you're picking quite a few things on that list. Now, if somebody didn't have this library, they could just go back to vitamins and nutrition, but I like a lot of these remedies, which is a good argument to buy a couple of these extra libraries on the Rife generator.
So, yes. So, and then I also have another, which I have to find here.
You see how your allergies don't look bad? So why do you have histamine? It must be a worm if it's not an allergy. Histamine from worms versus histamine from allergies. Well, I'm just saying your last allergy page looked all green. It's the worm page that looked blue and red. Oh, so yeah. Your histamine is really coming from infectious histamine, not from allergic food allergies and pollen and dust. Okay.
I have this library for the GI microbial testing panel. Now there's all these are different panels, and I imported it twice in error. So there are some things that are doubled, which is interesting because normal bacterial floral is showing red here and it's not here, but
every time you test something, it already cures it, don't you know? That's the quantum field. Just by asking the question, you already invoke the response of the brain. So testing something twice gives a second reading a different answer.
So
I would go after that H. pylori like a vengeance.
So I'm going to add it this way, and I'm also going to click on it. So these are different. Maybe you could explain this because I don't understand this part at all, if necessary, but I'm just going to add the reds here.
Well, it looks like somebody has made up some other elements that are related to it, you know, virus A or virus B panel. I'm not quite sure who made that panel. So
I think this comes exactly from like when you do stool testing, this is what they're testing for.
I see.
So,
and what about potential autoimmune triggers? Does it say food poisoning or does it say parasites? Citrobacter and Klebsiella bacteria in the bladder possibly, or gut. So I would take those into there. Those little blue babies. All right. And then intestinal health digestion. What does that say near the bottom? Yeah, that one.
Oh, this is, I know if you have gluten issues.
Yeah. If your yeast dissolves all the glue or the grout between the, you know, the bath stones,
that's the stickiness.
That's the zonulin is disintegrating. Then we got leaky gut. Then we got big trouble in River City with a capital T. So it rhymes with, yeah. So this looks substantially better. Just look on the worm panel for me, just right there. Just want to show people what worms might look like. It just has the 5 top worms that they have the laboratory test for in the hospital. So Ascaris roundworm of the duodenum, Taenia tapeworm of the pancreas, Trichuris means trich means hair. So this is the whipworm of the hair or the lungs or the pancreas for diabetes. The Nectar americanus is pinworm of the duodenum or rectum in pile or hemorrhoids or constipation everywhere. And the Ancylostoma duodenale is the ancylostoma is the hookworm with a little sucker on it that comes from dogs licking your nose, usually walking barefoot on a beach, somebody picking up. So these are the 5 most common. And as you saw, when she went to her Rife generator, She had, you know, all kinds of other things with amoebas and other things. So don't just think parasites is going to do them all. You have to look for worms as a different family, yeast is a different family, bacteria is a different family, and parasites is a different family. So, you know, if you check those four corners of the bioterrain graph, you're probably going to catch most of what's going on. And most of these things, can I mention one last thing, which I just learned? It's Lyme disease month in May. Lyme disease lays their eggs in the worm, and that worm becomes the incubator for Lyme disease. So you're going to notice when you keep going after somebody with Lyme disease, they never get better because you didn't take care of the worm incubator, and the Lyme just came back and came back and came back. So do the Lyme disease and the worm together, and you break people out of these 10-year exhaustive, low zinc states where they can't get out of bed. I've had hundreds of people tell me they got out of bed after years in it. So go ahead and you can go back and get on track there.
Okay.
Now, God bless you after we leave this session that you put the play button on and go and enjoy a cup of tea somewhere.
I think that's all. I mean, I think that we have enough in here.
I'd say so.
So, the only other thing that we could do is we can do,
if you're going to race around the track, you need a carburetor in your brakes. So a thyroid and an adrenal support in order to handle this re-triggering is also wise, I would
so
say.
you want me to add in,
Glands, adrenal, yeah. Just give yourself a little bit of thyroid and adrenal support, or